everybody. It's nice to see you all out here for the first happy hour. Please, the Two West could provide a little booze and learning for you. I'm actually, in that order, booze and learning. But I'm actually one of the newest members of the Two West team, came in a couple of months back, and am currently one of the producers of the brand show. So that's really what we're going to start off in talking about tonight. And I'd like to introduce to you the regular host of the brand show. First, Ethan Whitehill, who's the CEO and founder of Two West. Additionally, Lou Thurman, who is our Senior Vice President of Human Potential. Those two can be heard regularly every week at thebrandshow.com. I guess without further ado then, I guess I'll start with the first question. The fact that I'm new myself, I would love to hear more about the history of the brand show in a brief summary and how it's evolved just over the last couple of years. Also started.
And before you start, sorry, one thing I forgot to mention, if you're tweeting during the event, use hashtag SMCKC. And two more quick thank yous that I so can't believe I forgot to is Joe Cox from the Vitamin Water, because they brought us lots of fun. And also Podcast Studio, who provided the wine. So thanks for those. Those are important things to get out of the way though. So thank you guys.
There's two more hashtags. It's hashtag the brand show and hashtag Two West also. Can everybody hear us okay? We wanted this to be really casual. So if we need to speak up or move around, just let us know. I also want to kind of be in the camera.
Can we pull in more chairs then? Or?
All right. Well, just to answer, I guess, pick up where James's question left off. The brand show, Lou and I were just talking about this. The brand show officially started as a concept probably in about 2002. And at the time we called it Challenger Radio. And we had a focus as a company on Challenger brands. And our first attempt really looked like pirate radio. We went out and we bought a little 2-watt FM transmitter. This was kind of pre-big time podcast. And our goal was at least to broadcast to the intersection. And I think we accomplished that pretty well. We plugged it in, stuck it in the closet, 24/7 it was on. We actually had a looping CD that would play. But that was really the birth of the brand show. And at the time, we also had a little Challenger remote vehicle, a little car that was decked out with our call numbers and everything else. And we would go and we'd do little remotes at clients and at events we'd go to. And that's really where the concept started. And the next opportunity we had for the show was with AM 1510. We were approached by Small Business Monthly. Kelly Scanlon over there has radio time that she buys every week, and at the time it was an hour every Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. And
live.
It was live, and it was a little different format because we had advertisers that would, we'd have to do breaks and station breaks, and we had call-in format more, so we actually had people who became fans and would call in and just want to chat with us. But at the time, our concept wasn't real tight. It was really more of a conversation, talk radio show. We didn't really feature guests particularly. We had topics that we would cover. But as podcasts kind of came online and became more important in the media landscape, we realized that there was a huge opportunity for us here. And we originally got into the radio show to trap ourselves into doing content because as a marketing communications company, I think it was challenging for us to set aside time and actually work on our own marketing. And by having this live radio show every week, it forced us to be in a station, looking at each other, talking about things we thought were important, and then providing that to an audience. And that was about the only way we were going to get it done. And then we realized, you know what, this is also an opportunity to get just production for a podcast. So the actual live radio broadcast became very secondary, probably 2 years into it, when we realized that this is just a great way to produce a podcast. And every show we would grab our CD and head back to the office and put it online, and then we had a podcast about 5 years ago. Was how that started. And then it was just about, I guess in 2009, when we realized we could be doing this in-house. We could develop our own sound booth, we could buy our equipment, and at that time, the price point of all that technology really came down. I think our soundboard's $300, I think our mics were about $150 each. And we started editing in GarageBand, now we're using... Audacity, yeah. Thank you. And so that's really kind of how we got to where we are today. And anchors to this in terms of the channels that we're online with the brand show, but that's kind of how we arrived at the podcast as it is.
One of the big things, though, when we first started out, when Ethan mentioned, we were live on air for an hour, and it was kind of us talking to each other, our focus was on brands. So we do this, we do branding history, we talk about things that are relevant, but we always made sure that the last half an hour of the show, we'd have some type of subject matter expert from a big brand well-known internationally or internationally, or an author who is a subject matter expert across a huge horizontal to come on the show and share their content. And that's really kind of the crux of where we decided, this is our way to not only gain information for Two West, but to send this out to not only our clients, but students, other brands, and really just share knowledge. And so Ethan was talking about content earlier, and we're pretty big about sharing content.
One of the really funny things too is 5 years ago, it was helpful for us to have a radio show and have actual, a station that we could point to and say, we're on the air here. And that was really important for getting those guests.
Right.
Today, it's irrelevant. If we tell people we have a podcast, we have 4,000 people that we blasted out to and other listeners that come in, they're on board. It's even easier to recruit guests now when it's a podcast.
Yeah, we actually had a recording this afternoon with Toby Bose.
Uh-huh.
If anyone mispronounces his last name. He's the CEO of the La Jolla Group, so they're the umbrella brand